Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Victor Escalante Live, our first show for the year. We have in the studio joining us remotely Jose Monterrosa. Jose, belated Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and everyone that follow us on these shows, right? We're beginning a new year. We're truly enthusiastic about what the year is going to bring. So happy to be here again, Victor.
Yes, thank you to all 10 followers.
Yeah. Hey,
We have a very interesting show prepared for you. Jose and I have done a lot of research for today's broadcast because we're looking at the future of media. We're looking at the future of where people get news. And we're also going to do a deep dive into if you're a newsmaker, if you're a content creator, or if you work with brands, how can you get traction in today's market when it comes to media and when it comes to followers consuming your content? So let's go ahead and get started.
sure.
Jose, why don't you go ahead and start us off with what is the industry factors contributing to the shift in legacy media? We're going to start out with legacy media.
Right. And you usually identify yourself as a legacy media guy, right?
Yes, I still am. I actually have one foot in legacy media still with
Yeah,
as a senior writer for Que Onda magazine
there you go.
and a TV station, as well as La Cotorra Radio, which is the new format for digital radio. Okay,
Right, right.
so I have a foot in both worlds, and I'm always curious to find out what is happening in both worlds.
Right. So it's going to be an interesting conversation, and it's this is this has a lot to do with PR, and
Yes,
especially those that are in the business of sending out press releases, making sure that the business that they are representing or the organization that they are representing has or gets the necessary exposure uh, through traditional news media outlets, right? But as we know, that landscape of traditional news media has changed over the years. I mean, this is not a new topic, but we're going to talk about what I guess what we can expect for this years and the years to come.
I would even go
So,
back and ask the question, what is news in today's day and age?
right,
Okay,
yeah,
because
exactly,
what you consider as a PR professional, what you consider news is going to be very relevant to whoever's going to receive your media advisory or
hmm
uh, your press write up that you do, your
right.
press
So,
release.
so maybe we need to understand this in terms of general content, right?
Yes,
Because maybe at some point you were getting information through TV, radio, and it was mostly news content, traditional news content.
correct.
But then suddenly that has been shifted. So maybe you're not watching the traditional news, but you are being fed by some other type of content that is still relevant, and it has some mix of entertainment, news, uh, but the information is being presented definitely in a
The
different
word we
way.
used, Jose, was infotainment. Okay.
There you go. Okay,
Infotainment is like you're informing, but you're also entertaining.
providing, yeah, that entertainment factor. So we come from a traditional or legacy media that has had certain characteristics such as trust, credibility. There were limited choices of where you could get the information, right? Like the three big networks, right? In NPR, the traditional news outlets, professional journalist standards, in those main news sources being almost like the gatekeeper, playing that
Yes.
gatekeeper role.
For those of you that are millennials and Zoomers, just to give you a point of reference and the nuance of those days, it is reported that Nixon decided that he could not win Vietnam because Walter Cronkite, the main broadcaster, the news broadcaster for CBS, decided to start running negative stories about
Right.
Vietnam. And when President Nixon knew that he had lost Walter Cronkite, he said, "It's over. I can't win the war." That's
Right.
power that legacy media, and again, Walter Cronkite in those days was considered the most trusted news person in the industry, and that's because he was legitimately a fact reporting journalist, as opposed to a lot of opinion journalism that you find nowadays.
Right. And so the traditional news media playing that role of gatekeeper, right?
Yes,
And making sure that, they play the role that maybe a democracy
yes,
and provided them, right? I mean,
yes,
we need you to check these guys, right? And
exactly.
keep informing the people that vote for those individuals, informed about the decisions that they're making. So that is the legacy media.
That's the past. What
But
about the
yeah,
present, Jose?
yeah. So
Bring
so
us up to
then
date.
then
Compress
then
time and bring us up to date.
and then we got something called the internet, right? In the
Yes,
90s, 2000s, and with the internet came social media.
yes,
So this is not nothing new, but the fact that how this phenomenon has been evolving over the years, and how social media has become a platform for content generators, multiple content generators, millions of content generators. So we're not talking about Walter Concrete,
yes.
one guy.
This is not Walter Cronkite's
Yeah,
era. Okay.
yeah. We have multiple mini concretes all over the place. Obviously, not with the standards of
Right.
Walter
Anyone
Concrete,
can
but
be a journalist now with a smartphone.
anyone can
Okay.
be a
Anyone.
journalist, and anyone can be a content generator. So you
That's
know
that's the threat. Yeah.
exactly. So more democracy
Yes.
in the world of content generation, news generation. That's what the internet did to us. Now it has flaws. We know that. The trust and credibility factor is definitely out there. But did it disrupt the legacy media? I think that we can all agree that it did, and it continues to do so, to
Yes.
the point that it's jeopardizing the industry, right?
I would, because I'm in the industry, I have an opinion about this. Mass
Okay.
media is dead. Okay. It's
Mhm.
dead. Some of it doesn't know that it's dead, but it's on its way. And what is happening, my prediction based upon the trends and the research I've done, is you're beginning to fragment the mass media into different little niche
Right,
audiences, these
right,
buckets of audiences that follow religiously the sources of the content.
right.
And let me tell you that one major addition to La Cotorra Radio, we have a live call-in line now that if you want to ask us a question or if you want to participate in the discussion, you can call us. That number is 832-793-0100. You can ask a question or you can even join in the discussion. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Okay?
We're not afraid of tough questions. We can
Exactly.
take it.
Yes.
We're big boys.
Yes, we're big boys. We've been
Yeah.
there, and we have a long trajectory, and we are very well versed in the future because we have to be. Not only
Right.
because we're nerds, but because we work in this industry and we serve brands, big brands that depend on our expertise. So
Right.
again, that number is 832-793-0100. Okay. Let me see if I
Yeah.
can put it on here.
Right. So
So,
so
Jose,
social media platforms such as YouTube, podcast, uh, Facebook, your Instagram, and more recently TikTok, right? Which is playing an important role in content, in spreading that content that multiple people are basically engaging with. That has definitely shifted the industry over the years. And journalists. So let's make a separation of
yes,
between maybe professional journalists
yes.
and influencers, social media
In the
influencers,
old
right?
days, where people started to become journalists, I was at the Chronicle and I saw the rise of citizen journalist is what the term that we used.
Okay.
Citizen journalist was the term used by people that were generating photos and uploading them to our Houston Chronicle site. And we also had bloggers that I began to experiment as a blogger, and they didn't know at the time. Full disclosure, they didn't know I was a staffer, and so I wanted to experiment with it, and I became one of the top bloggers. At the time, I worked in advertising, but I was outranking journalists, bloggers, until they
Yeah.
got wind of it because I was outperforming in content because I was writing organic content and opinion content, and that's why I was so successful.
Right, right. So so you have these professional journalists that maybe are working, full time with a
Yes,
TV, radio station, a newspaper. I don't know what that is, but uh, they, some of them, they have to adhere to the policies of the company that they're
correct.
working with, right? But as some of them leave the industry, they are creating their own channels
Yes,
for generating news, and this is where that niche that you just mentioned comes into place. And what tools are they using? Well, we just talked about podcast, YouTube, TikTok, but there are other platforms such as Medium.
yes,
I know that you have used that before. I
yes,
have
I
used
have. Yes, I have,
it,
and
and
very, very
it
effective, very user
it
friendly.
works exactly.
You can get on Medium for zero. You can pay $5 a month for more bells and whistles. So the entry level to be a journalist is nothing, Jose.
Right. It's the I mean, the fact that something like Medium, and there are other platforms
Yes,
out there, Substack and Patreon, I think is the name of the other one. They provide you as a journalist a platform in which you can create your own newsletter, you
that's
know,
correct.
or create your own stories, and it does a very good job at generating presence on the search engines. I mean, you
Yes,
you can have, as a journalist, you can say, "Oh, I'm going to create my own website, and I'm going to have my blog and all that stuff." But getting that presence on search engines, we know that that's a lot of work doing SEO.
yes.
Uh, Something like Medium provides you with an immediate platform that can put your name and your content out there very quickly, right?
Let
So,
me share
so
something with you, you and the audience, Jose.
mhm,
I was one of the founders of ITV. I was one of we were a team of journalists and media veterans, and we created ITV. ITV is an acronym for Immigration TV. Okay, now, so I wrote a press release and I put it up on a free press release distribution site. This is the old days. Okay, it was free,
right,
and within a week we landed on the my press release was picked up and we landed on Houston Chronicle.
there
Okay,
you
I
go.
made news at the Houston Chronicle, and of course they were getting into the discussion reporting about our TV network, and that's how fast and easy and for zero cost other than having a good written press release you could get into main media.
Right. And these platforms, just like you said, the risk of entry is very low. I
Yes,
mean, pretty much anyone can do that. And if you already have the skills, obviously, you're going to be generating very good content, quality content.
correct.
Then, this is just a platform that can help you maximize those skills that you have. But the point here is the shift from that traditional journalists working with this, very nationwide network, maybe going on its own, right?
Yes.
And creating content that is very specific for one specific industry and becoming like the voice of that industry. That
Did
is
you
something
get a
that is,
chance to? Did you get in your feed on my Facebook feed today? I had a story from the Houston Chronicle
Mhm.
of Dominique Soxy. Did you
Right.
get it? Okay. Did you read
I,
it?
I I saw it. I saw the story. And yeah, I mean, she was the anchor of
Yes.
KPRC, right, for many years,
Here's
decades.
what I want to bring to the table.
Okay.
2 million followers on YouTube.
Right.
2 million
Yeah.
followers on YouTube. They were interested in how she did her makeup. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how she built her tribe, and her following was all on fashion and beauty tips
So
on
what is
makeup.
she doing in Dallas? What is she going to do?
She's being hush hush about it. It was a teaser story, but she got some sort of business opportunity in Dallas. I'm sure it's media related. Uh,
Right.
Maybe some national network or something. Could be a new digital media
Right.
platform
Yeah.
that some big investor or some legacy media is realizing that they need to make the shift to capturing that, again, niche market, our followers. I mean, if you bring 2 million people that are
Right.
faithful
Yeah.
to you, you're going to
Yeah.
get on the radar of legacy media.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, she has the followers. She has been growing that network.
Yeah,
I'm very aware of, the shift that she made,
right.
which to me is very savvy, right?
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of folks that work in traditional media, they transition to something else and they get lost. She didn't. She knew exactly what she was going to do, and she was very successful at doing what she was doing
exactly.
on YouTube. Yeah.
Exactly.
So those are the factors that are contributing to the shift. Now, let me ask you one question, Victor. Uh, do you know how many social media influencers there are today worldwide? And I researched this data. I
I
wanted to
don't.
find
I
data
don't.
for the U.S.
I
Yeah.
don't.
So
So go ahead
let,
and
let
break
me
the suspense
yeah, and this
because
has a lot to do with what we just talked about.
yes.
So 2010, almost zero, right?
Okay.
Social media influencers. 2022, 40 million
Wow.
uh, social media
Out of
influencers.
nowhere in in
I
in
mean, it's been
in a
10
decade.
years.
In a decade.
Yeah,
Okay.
in a decade. Yeah, yeah. So obviously, that includes anyone, anything, right? I
Yes.
mean, we need to filter that list even more to see, which are the ones that are providing meaningful content and have a significant number of followers. But the fact that some kids today, they may say, you know what, yeah, I'm not going to go to journalism. I mean, I'm not going to go to school for this. I'm just going to start my own YouTube channel, and that's basically how I'm going to live, right? I'm going to gain followers and all that stuff. So I mean, that is surprising to me to see the fact that this has become an industry. Over 10 years we have a new way of maybe making a living and
Yes.
generating that content. I mentioned to you before the fact that I had been checking some content generators in the Houston area, and I
Yes.
actually found one. She's from Cuba. She's new in Houston, but you're going to be amazed of how much followers she is getting already. I mean, I believe based on what I heard from her, she has been in Houston for 7 months, and she recently did a video about the Buffalo Bayou Park. And the
Okay.
interesting thing is that so far, she has received, and I don't know how long this video has been on her Facebook profile, but she has gained something like 8,000, 9,000 views on that video, like 300 people commenting on that
Wow.
video, and about 400 reshares of the video. For someone that has been here 7 months, I would say that is really good. Obviously, she has been doing this before, and so she already had a following on social media. But hey, Buffalo Bayou got a freebie right there, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ex-
Those are the kind of people that any brand will partner up with her, because in one of the shows, Jose, that I did with Adele when you were on assignment, 6-1 is the ratio. Remember the number, 6-1. For every dollar you spend on an influencer, you're going to get 6 in return. Okay. So
okay.
which brand is not interested in doing business with an influencer like that?
Right. And I mean, I invite anyone to check her out, Anita Conswing. Check the video that she did for Buffalo Biopark.
Okay.
Very informative for anyone that is new to Houston, or maybe someone that doesn't live in Houston, or maybe heard about Buffalo Biopark and wants to know what can I do there. They just need to watch this video, right? And they will get all that information. Buffalo Bio can spend a lot of money, trying to communicate with their audience. And she just did this video and did the work that maybe Buffalo Bio has been doing for over a year.
Give me
Right?
the name,
It
Jose,
just
so I can put it as a banner.
she identified herself as Anita Conswing, and I can write that on the chat so you can get it.
Spell that. Yes, write it in chat so I can put it in
Anita
as a banner. This is the beauty of technology now.
Yeah, there you go. You got it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Con swing.
So
Okay.
amazing performance, and obviously there are more influencers in the Houston area, but the fact that she is focusing a lot of her content on tourism. She's getting to know the city, and she is moving in different neighborhoods and trying to generate content about those neighborhoods. I mean, that's exactly the thing that is happening, and it has been happening over the years. But the fact that this has become a new way to know more about what's going on, information with entertainment, that adds a different spin to the traditional way that a lot of us used to get information, right?
Remember
So
the experience that I told you, Jose, when I knew that basically, if you're a journalist, you might as well start thinking of where to go next. When I was at the Mexican consulate, and there was nothing but reporters. It was a press conference, and there was an influencer that was invited to the table. Okay.
okay. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, you
Yeah.
share that story. Yeah.
So I could not wrap my mind around it. Of course, I went up and talked to her to try to recruit her, and I may still recruit her for a project in the future. But that says it all. It's like when you are invited to those circles to be there on the same level as a journalist and as a reporter, journalism is over.
And you know what? I guess this conversation becomes relevant here in Houston and in the U.S. in general, because I'm seeing what's happening in other countries, and the fact that you do a news conference and you not only invite the traditional media, but you also invite those influencers. You don't see that very often here. I mean, you
Right.
mentioned that example, but when the mayor uh, does a news conference, I mean, you see those traditional TV stations there, but you don't see a whole bunch of other guys that are simply content generators. So
Exactly.
I guess at some point that shift is going to happen here in Houston. But
Yes.
as of right now,
Yes.
I don't see it. And it's happening a lot in other countries.
Yes,
So
I think it's going to continue to increase. I wouldn't be surprised at a lot of press events that I begin to attend. Influencers are there because they're on the press list for press releases. I wouldn't be surprised.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's all about generating content, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So how are people accessing and engaging with the news? We kind of touched on this already, but I have some numbers that I want to share
Okay, go ahead.
with you today. Yeah. And this is data that is coming from the Pew Research Center.
Okay.
Right? And it's dated for 2021. So, I mean, it's a credible, very credible source.
Right.
Around half, 48% of US adults reported getting news from social media, either often or sometimes, which was a slight decrease from 2020. And I will explain what that slight decrease really came from.
Okay.
Facebook is the most common social media site for regular news consumption, with 31% of US adults using it for this purpose. YouTube and Twitter follow with 22 and 13% of Americans using them regularly for news, respectively. So we know that traditional legacy media is also using these platforms to generate or communicate the information that they are generating. But in a way, is I mean, would you imagine at some point in time NBC sharing their content with ABC? I no,
No.
but social media, which becomes almost like a platform for anyone, and all of a sudden, KPRC or NBC, CBS are putting their content on these social media platforms, says a lot about where their audience are getting the information. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is the proportion of users getting news regularly from these platforms has remained stable since 2020, with Facebook and TikTok being exceptions. Facebook is the one that has gone down a little bit, but TikTok growing a lot. And I don't know about you, Victor, but I almost made the switch from Facebook and Instagram to TikTok.
Well, one story that I read, and I'm not a big consumer of TikTok, but one story that I read is that it's become the SEO engine for content.
It generates a signal for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
just like Twitter. Twitter
yeah.
does that too. Yeah.
So again, brands have to be wherever the audience is and wherever you're going to have the elements to rank.
Yeah. So those that follow me on Facebook, primarily because that has been my network for many years. I use Instagram, but I don't use it as much as Facebook.
Yeah, that's a boomer platform.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, at some point, it wears out, right? I mean, what else? Facebook. What else is out there?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it comes TikTok with videos, very short
Right.
videos.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are very, very informative.
Yes.
Stuff that definitely you're not going to find on Facebook.
Exactly.
You know what? Maybe I need to spend more time here. And I know the whole controversy around TikTok, but
we need to get over it.
Yeah.
Again, it's relative. It's relative
Right.
to what your brand's objectives are, and
Right.
and yes, we can't be extremist.
Right. So and also the fact that you can get information on TikTok and immediately compare it with other information that is basically showing up on your feed, and you be the judge of whether this is something that is real or not real. Maybe that is something in the algorithms of TikTok that it allows you to see basically the same video that you saw 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you get almost the same video by someone else at the same time, or almost at the same time. It allows us as users to compare, which is something that does not necessarily happens on Facebook or Instagram. So you almost become like the police of content that is being shared.
Explain a little bit more about that, because I'm curious what that means.
Right. I mean, what it means to me is that, okay, I know that there are issues with credibility on content generators on these platforms.
Yes.
So I'm browsing through TikTok. I saw a video that I was interested in because that's a topic that I follow.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I give it a like, right? I like this, right? So I continue to browse, and then all suddenly, out of nowhere, another content generator touching on the same subject.
Wow.
And the fact that you can actually almost compare what the other guy said.
Oh, now I get it. Now I get it. Yeah.
It's a plus.
That's
Trust
very
me.
interesting.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, I mean, totally. This may sound silly, but look,
in real time, you can do an analysis very quickly of the truthfulness of what you're consuming.
Exactly. So
yeah,
let's put it this way. So maybe TikTok said at some point, okay, credibility is a factor within our platform, right? But we cannot be the judge of the content that is being generated.
Correct.
let the user be the judge of this.
Yes.
That's what I think is happening there. And I think if that was made with purpose, it's very clever, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because it liberates TikTok from the sensory part aspect of content,
Correct.
and it
Correct.
allows the individual to do that themselves. So, what are the implications for the future of journalism as we know it? Huh. Okay. Maybe you have a lot to say here, but
I'm gonna make it very, very short and sweet because I
okay,
want to know what you have to say. Okay. Now,
okay,
I give this publication maybe another 5 years to be generous, okay, before it begins to diminish because it's all going to go digital, okay,
okay,
and it's going to become a standalone media company, a multimedia company, okay.
mhm, okay,
Uh, Magazine, which I've been a cover photographer, this is going to go digital, okay.
okay,
It's still in print, but this is all going to go digital. Luxury magazine, which I've also been a photographer and writer for this particular brand, is going to disappear. It's going to disappear because again, to this is Vogue quality editorial design and print. Okay,
mhm,
now even Condé Nast, which is one of the companies I work for, that is the
right,
publisher of Vogue. They just laid off hundreds of people, and again, that market is shrinking even more, and so
mhm,
that's my forecast.
okay,
Is that because of the shrinking revenues from advertisers, the future belongs to those that can really hyper serve niche audiences and provide everything that they need to at least keep them in the fold or keep them coming back to consider you as one of the primary sources of content, of products and services that are trusted, that they can trust you to advertise. That's my future. Now, what do you have to say?
No, I mean that's pretty much aligned with what I think. I mean, I share with you the numbers of social media influencers from 2010 to 2020, 21, I think it was,
Hmm.
uh, from almost 0 to 40 million. Uh, the the door is completely open to anyone that wants to generate content on social media platforms and
Yes.
provide that niche
Yeah.
content that you were mentioning with some maybe entertainment level, because the way that people are consuming news,
Yes.
uh, there has to be some additional value, right,
Right.
that your network does not allow you to do, because you have to follow these standards. But guess what? There are 40,000 other
Yes.
guys that
Yes.
are probably taking your news,
Yes.
taking your content,
Yeah.
and adding their spin, and
Exactly.
then it becomes different. It's a
Exactly.
different. It's like having a Coca-Cola with different flavors, right?
Yes. Yes.
What if I like cherry Coca-Cola
Yeah.
more than the
Yeah.
traditional Coca-Cola,
Exactly.
and I
Exactly.
stay with cherry Coca-Cola, right?
Exactly.
So I forgot completely about the traditional Coca-Cola. That's pretty much what's happening,
Yeah.
and it will continue to happen. And I don't know. I mean, it. I guess we're yet to see what other technologies will come out that will probably put an end. You know?
Yeah. The final nail in the coffin. Jose,
Yeah.
what about content creators and brand managers? What should they be looking at? What's your
I
prediction?
Well, I mentioned before. Those that are generating that niche content, like in the case of Anita con Swing. Uh, she's new to Houston, but she's focusing a lot on different spots of the city that she is highlighting with her content. I
Yes.
talked to you about the Buffalo Bayou Park. I know that she did another video in the Museum of Fine Arts, which was very good, but didn't generate as many views as the one of Buffalo Bayou. But hey, that is somebody that at some point in time, maybe over a year or 2 years, she's probably going to find another niche
Yes.
in which to generate content. So that the reality is that she's going to have the flexibility, or the platform that she's using will allow her to shift and pivot depending on what people are demanding in terms of content.
With a
Yeah,
smartphone, you can go anywhere in the world
right.
and basically write your own paycheck
And you
based
know
upon
what?
quality content.
And
Yes.
you know what? The people that makes those phones, they know exactly that there is a niche of
Yes.
content generators, and maybe they need this app,
Yes.
maybe they need this feature on the phone, maybe we need to charge $1,300 for a phone, because we're not expecting a regular guy to buy this phone. It's going to be a content generator. It's going to be
Exactly. Yeah.
someone that is
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they want to look good on social media.
Apple, don't
They
listen to Jose.
Yeah.
You're gonna drive up my price of my
Yeah,
iPhone.
right. Yeah, but that's pretty much my prediction, Victor.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the industry has been changing, and it will continue to change, definitely.
Yes. That's for sure. And
Yeah.
friends, that's going to do it for today. We remember to call in with your questions next time. Don't be shy. We enjoy bantering, discussion, agreement, applause. It's like we like it all. So don't be shy, Jose. Until next time, I'll see you, my friend. And
See you.
friends and listeners, go out and have a great week.
See you next week. Bye.